Italy, England. It was actually the last final of the Euros in London, and they have an important clash in the Diego Armando Maradona. In this group, we have Ukraine, Malta, and Macedonia. And my first question to Dani Fisichella is, of course, what is changed in this Italy? Is this a new Italy after missing the World Cup? We know that Mancini is still in charge, but what is going on in La Nazionale, Dani?
Still work in progress, and still the quest for Mancini for a goal scorer continues. And the great news, or the unexpected news, is that the call-up of the Argentine, half-Italian Matteo Retegui. He plays for Tigre. He's on loan from Boca Juniors. He's got a lot of goals in the Argentinian first division, 29 goals in 50 games. And he's new. First time he got called up. Even Mancini was surprised that the Argentine actually said yes to be called with La Nazionale. So, and this is basically shows that Italy and Mancini are desperate for a goal scorer. So, amongst the 30 players that have been called for these 2 rounds of fixtures, who know who the top scorers are, well, obviously with the national team, Barella and Bonucci with 8 goals each, then followed by Berardi with 6. Basically, there are no top strikers. Also, Scamacca, who we had a lot of expectation this season, joined West Ham. He only scores in the Conference League. There is no Immobile because he's injured. So that's where the real problem for Italy comes. And, still you feel there's a very experimental vibe to it. And it is represented by the calls up by Mancini. For example, no Fagioli and no Locatelli, who are the 2 best midfielders for Juventus at the moment, because there is so much depth in midfield. You got the likes of Jorginho, you got the likes of Verratti, Pellegrini, Cristante, Tonali, etc. So those 2 don't find a place. Then there is no Zaccagni for disciplinary reason, who's the top scorer of Lazio. Immobile is injured. Raspadori is injured. And then, the call-up of Retegui, as I mentioned, and Simone Pafundi, who only played 20 minutes in Serie A, is 17. According to Mancini, he's the first name on his list. Big prospect for him. I bet 95% of Italians have never seen him playing. So, there is a big question mark, but you need to maybe trust the process. I mean, Mancini, after all, is the guy who gave a debut to Zaniolo when he never really played in Serie A before, that switched to a 4-3, that he won the Euros with the midfield of Verratti, Barella, and Jorginho. So trust the process, but it's still work in progress. The good news is that Spinazzola is back to his old best. I think he's going to play as a wing back alongside Di Lorenzo as well. I think they're going to stick to a 3 at the back. That's how they beat England in Milan in the Nations League game. It wasn't a great game, to be fair. Let's see who plays up front, really, because apart from Gnonto and Grifo, who regularly play both for Leeds and Freiburg, really, there are no great names there. Chiesa is also injured as well. Where are the goals coming from? That's just my angle. And I think England, although they are without Rashford, which is, by the way, the best player, I think they look more complete. They got more options there. So I'm afraid I'm not really optimistic for this one. I'm going to go for an Asian handicap 0 for England, 187, or an under 2.5 goals, which pays 171. So that's my tip. England not to lose, but it is a low-scoring game for me, 171.
Dan is not very confident after Italy missing, of course, the World Cup, still with Mancini in charge, and we have a lot of information now about Italy. Alvaro, tell us something about England. Tell us how do you see, I don't know if it's a new England, because it's still Southgate after Kane missing the penalty and the pros went home in the World Cup. How do you see this England? What is going to change, or is going to change something?
Not much. It's not really a New England. Number one, if Gareth Southgate stays all this cycle until Euro 2024, he will complete more games as the national side coach than Bobby Robson. So that tells you that he's been there for a very long time, since 2016, basically. I think that the progress has been linear until the World Cup, because he did semi-finals in the World Cup 2018, the final in Euro 2020, and then he did the quarterfinals in World Cup 2022. Even though I think that England was very good and fought toe-to-toe with France until Harry Kane missed the penalty, but England looks very similar. There are, of course, some new players, like, for example, Ivan Toney from Brentford, even though he's got an issue with FA among allegations of breaching some FA betting rules. Well, he's been capped by the national side. Trent Alexander-Arnold is not in the squad, and for example, it surprises that Harry Maguire or Calvin Phillips are in the squad, especially Calvin Phillips, because he's barely playing for Manchester City, but that is explained very easily. The thing is that the international football context is different to the club football context, and for Gareth Southgate, the likes of Maguire and the likes of Phillips always worked. So he will say, I don't care what they do for their club, they normally do the job for me. So that's why they've been capped, and that is the justification behind. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane playing together because Marcus Rashford is injured. Nick Pope pulled out with an injury as well. So I would like to see who plays in goal. I'm inclined to say that Jordan Pickford is going to be the goalkeeper, even though Aaron Ramsdale should have a big chance because he's the goalkeeper of Arsenal, and Arsenal is topping the Premier League. There are a few milestones that could be surpassed, like, for example, Harry Kane. If he scores, he will become the all-time top scorer of English football after becoming the all-time top scorer of Tottenham back in February. He did it in the Premier League. When it comes to Italy, I think that they are in the process of looking for footballers. As Daniele said, the Retegi's Cup is a clear example of that. Even Nonto's Cup back in summer 2022 was 2021 was another example of that. 2022, sorry. But I do believe that Italy has been quite competitive with England lately. For example, they beat them in the Nations League at home, and they drew 0-0 at Wolverhampton. I think that Italian defense is pretty decent. And historically, and this doesn't count really, but has to be said, England hasn't beaten Italy in a competitive fixture since 1977. Anyway, I think that I'm going to go for a double chance, 1x for Italy. That pays 155. Or I also like the draw no bet for Italy, 2.10. If you're a believer of records and you want Harry Kane to have it, you can say that, for example, Harry Kane to score or assist doubles up your bet, pays 2.0, but maybe this is not the time. A double chance for Italy, 1x, 155.
Well, Alvaro leaning towards Italy, Danny leaning towards England. Is the opposite. Of course, tell me in the comments which team are you backing, because the odds are very good actually for both sides. We have Ashley from Hawaii. Good luck, Ashley, that you are in Hawaii, going for an under, and for England, Chiesa is out.
Yes.
Danny?
Yes, he's out. He's not gonna play this one. Maybe the next one for sure.
There is a very good under, by the way. It will be under 1.5 goals in the first half. 143 is almost a safe bet.
It's not bad, yeah, absolutely.
Well, these two teams, they should qualify, I guess, for the Euros. Remember that two teams qualify, then England is going to face Ukraine in Wembley, and Italy is going to face Malta. Next